The Canadian Card Collector here, and welcome back to day 504 of Daily Deck Review. And the deck that we're taking a look at today is the Black Edition of the Tally Ho Orbit playing cards. So, with no further ado, let's take a look and see what we'll get. So here we have those black Tally Ho Orbit playing cards here. In the standard glossy finish tuck box, it is a black and white colored tuck box. So on the front it says We Are Orbit, Tally Ho Orbit, and playing cards at 23. On one side it says Tally Ho Orbit, the other side says Thin Crushed Air Cushion Finish. On the bottom you got your information, it says Tally Ho, you got that classic Orbit logo there with a little circle and a little rocket ship. And then it says Orbit 23, and then you got your little information, so it says 2023, the year these were made, designed by Daniel Schneider, manufactured in the United States by the United States Playing Company, and made in the USA. On the back, you got a sneak peek of that back design. And then for the seal, you got a stamp style seal, and it is the Cardtopia edition seal. There was that multicolored Cardtopia logo, and then it says NYC there in the 2023 there in the middle. On the top, it says Orbit and 23. Now if we crack that seal, grab our handy dandy card opener. On the top flap here, you just got your little bit of corporate information there. And it says black orbit, it says black orbit back, print run of 3,000, so there's only 3,000 of these. And on the tuck flaps here, it's got that glossy white. Take the cards out of the box. On the inside, it's that matte white finish. Nothing too crazy or fancy going on inside there. And now that we look at that tuck box, let's take a look at the cards. And first start with that back design. So here we have a mirrored back design with the standard white border on. So it's pretty much that like Tally Ho back design, just with the orbit circle there in the middle there. So not much like too much going on. It is in that black and white colorway, so the black color way. And it's mirrored, so if you flip it over, same design in both the directions. Still like pretty simplistic there. Two iconic decks of cards there, kind of put together, pretty nice. And for the cards you get with the deck, here we start with the first Joker here. It says Joker, Joker there. Tally Ho and Tally Ho. So the standard Tally Ho Joker there was the cowboy style Joker there with the whip. And then the red and yellow outfit there. And then the second Joker, similar style there. It says Joker, Joker. And then it says Orbit and Orbit instead of Tally Ho. Instead of the cowboy, you got an astronaut there, but it still has the whip and like the top hat in its hand there. And it's also in the black and white colorway. Then you get that custom Ace of Spades here, which is Tally Ho at the top. And that says playing cards, and you got the 23 there in the middle. And that says the Orbit deck, made in the USA. And then the rest of the spades here, like the suits, are just standard. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. And then you got the court cards here. And if you know anything about Tally Ho's, like some decks out there have custom faces for their court cards. The court cards are standard, just the faces are custom, so you got those custom faces, and they're actual people's faces. I still can't tell you who the faces are, because I have no idea still. But they are custom faces. And then you got the diamonds, which are just standard as well. And then you get those custom faces for the diamonds here, except for the king of diamonds. And no custom face, but the jack and the queen do have custom faces. So are the court cards for the clubs there. You got the custom faces as well. And then the clubs are just standard. And then lastly the hearts. The heart court cards are also standard faces. And then the hearts are just standard. And then the last two cards in the deck, you got the double backer of that back design. And you got an extra 8 of spades. So overall, pretty nice design there. Pretty simplistic. Like most of it's simplistic. You got a couple custom cards, like the court cards are slightly custom there. And then you got the Ace of Spades and the Jokers are custom. But other than that, you just got that nice back design. And then for the handling, they're that thin crushed air cushion finish. So they'll be a little bit on the thinner side. But they'll handle pretty nicely. And they'll feel like broken in straight out of the box, so they'll be easy to use straight out of the box, which is pretty nice. So they got that nice smooth springs. They're easy to flex in the spring. can definitely, when shuffling these and moving them around, you can definitely tell they're like a little bit like crushed and more thin. There, so pretty nice though. And as always, they'll handle fantastic, so there's definitely no issues with the handling aspect of the cards. And it's always nice when they look great, because they handle even better. So overall, fantastic design and some fantastic handling as always. Can never go wrong with the handling. There. So I guess with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. And this has been day 504 of the Daily Deck Review. And this has been the Black Edition of the Tally Ho Orbit playing cards. And I'm the Canadian Calculator, signing out. That's the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.